Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how do you become a good public speaker. Practice makes perfect. It's so important to be able to practice when you think about developing your public speaking skills. I myself used to speak quickly due to nerves. I felt very uncomfortable and unsettled talking in front of a crowd. It's taken me a long time, but I finally learned some skills. It's taken me a long time, but I finally really developed my own patterns, my own approaches, and my own system, and I'm definitely interested in sharing it with you. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to focus on main points instead of your full script, how to build on stories, and how to slow down. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're gonna enjoy. Let's dive in. It's scary to talk in public, especially if it's not something that you're accustomed to. There's always those polls that come out of people's biggest fears, and one of them is public speaking. There's even been polls that have said that, people are more afraid of public speaking than dying, which I could see. It's a lot. It's nerve-wracking to think about, oh my gosh, I got to speak in front of this group of people. I have a message that I need to share. I need some things to say. How am I going to keep all these things in my head? It's a lot to think about when you're giving a speech, and there's so many little things that can really bog you down and slow you down if you're not careful about them. So it's important to be able to be mindful of this stuff, and it's important to be able to work on it. For me, one of the main points and one of the ways that you can feel confident and secure as a public speaker is talking about things you know about. Talking about things you know like the back of your hand. It makes it easier to talk when you know the answers, when you know what you're talking about. You're not having to think about tons of research and tons of outside perspective and insight. You already have all this right in your head. So if you're speaking about things you know about, it makes it easier. When you have this insight and perspective and share these messages regularly, it makes it so much easier to talk in front of a group and not lose your momentum and not lose your focus. People like hearing stories. People like when things connect. People like when they can relate to the speaker that they're listening to. Lean on stories. Use stories. Stories are resonant. Stories connect. Stories transcend. I think about my friend Jonathan Stanley, and his message is about finding purpose in the workplace and finding meaning in the things we do. And he wrote this book, this bestseller, Purposeful Performance. And one of the things that really resonated for me about the book was Jonathan being honest and open and vulnerable about losing his job and the struggles that he faced after that. And this is a message that he carries forward in conversations with businesses, with companies, corporate events. He does public speeches. And the fact that he can explore this and be honest and be open and talk about his own experiences allows the audience members to connect with him. And I think it's so meaningful when you can lean on those stories, when you can lean on the things that you've experienced, because the people in your audience may have experienced those things too, or they're not that far away from experiencing those things. The things that you've gone through are relatable to them. They make the audience members connect with you. And they make it easier for you to make a connection and feel like the room has support for you, that, these people are hanging on to your words instead of, where's this person going with their message? What are they going to say? I am a big proponent and a big fan of working from bullet points, main talking points, and not from a full script. I know that there are speeches to give in which you want to script it out. I'm not talking about those types of speeches. For me, I'm speaking about those circumstances where you're standing in front of an audience and speaking to them and speaking from the heart. I'm a big proponent of bullet points. I'm a big proponent of talking points, of these are the things I want to include, but at the same time, there's a free flow, there's improvisational feel to this, that you're going to experience those things a little bit differently each time. There's always a freshness, there's always a newness, a rawness about it. This isn't about rehashing the same speech again and again. It's about touching on these points, but going deeper in the moment and feeling things and connecting with the audience and knowing, like, it seems like they're interested in this, so I'm going to go deeper here. It's really about providing the audience in front of you with the speech that they need. And sometimes things develop in the moment that you didn't anticipate. There's topics that come up. It's so fun when that happens. It's such a rush. But you kind of just need to find those places. So I'm a big fan of having talking points, but not scripting everything out. Early in my career, when I would give speeches, I would try to script everything out, and I'd be reading. And I'd be reading from a page. Think about giving a speech down here as opposed to out here. There's a big difference. There's a big difference too in the confidence. When you're standing tall and you're speaking to the group instead of down here. You're hunched over, you're looking at a piece of paper. It's a huge, huge difference. And it sends a message about how confident you are, how much you believe in the words, how much you own the words, that you can stand there and speak and carry it forward without having to script it all out. That it's right up here, that it is ready at your disposal at any point. A lot of times when public speakers are getting going, when they're building momentum, when they're doing their first speeches, they feel nervous, they feel stressed. And that connects to the way that they talk, that connects to the pace. You want to slow down, you want to lean into the pauses, you want to appreciate those things. It's like negative space in art. It's the same thing. You want to appreciate the moments that allow you to build momentum with the audience. Those pauses, when done properly, can mean so much. It means so much when you can pause and just sit there for a moment with that silence. Sit there for a moment with the audience waiting. What's going to happen next? What are they going to say next? It shows you're in control. When you're speeding, it's really tough because it's tough for the audience to connect to that and to absorb your information. So there's that level. And then the other level is it's just not as much fun to listen to when you're speeding through something. It doesn't sound the same and it doesn't feel as engaging. You want to speak in a way that's engaging and welcoming, and you want to exude this level of confidence or security. So when you think about giving your speech, think about slowing down. Slow down, even if you have to tell yourself to slow down, even if you have to write it on your piece of paper or your index card, slow down. It makes your speech infinitely better. Developing your presence matters. There's a presentation element of giving a speech. It's not just the information, it's the presentation. How are you presenting yourself? And that's not necessarily how you're dressing and how you're fixing your hair. I'm talking more about how you're standing tall, how you are standing in front of the crowd, how you are positioning yourself in front of the crowd. Are you looking across the crowd at different points? Are you, kind of giving people this connection? Are you relating to them on a one-to-one level? Are you paying attention to their body language, how they're acting, if they're engaged or not engaged, You want to be feeding off of all those things, and you want to be mindful of this stuff. You want to even record your speeches and go back later. How did I respond? How are my hand gestures? Did I pause the right way? Did I stand or sit the right way? Did I do something that detracted from the message? There's a presentation element. You don't want to lose sight of that because that matters. The more that you can present in this successful space, the more that you can show up as polished, the easier it becomes. And that ties into my next point, which is practice, practice, practice. You need to practice and get better at this thing. I remember when I was interested in becoming a sportscaster and doing on-air work for TV. This is college and early in my career, and I would literally stand in front of a mirror and practice. I would talk to myself. When I'm writing, I talk out loud to myself. When you're thinking about giving a speech, talk out loud to yourself. Stand in that mirror. Present yourself a certain way. Practice, 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 and keep at it. Once you start booking speeches and you start kind of getting that initial response from the crowd, your audience, and it could be an audience of 1, it could be an audience of 10, you can feed off of that. And you can feel more confident the next time and build on it and learn some things. You think about YouTube. It's such a resource here. If there are people, if there are public speakers that inspire you, see what they do, watch what they do, see how they carry an audience, see how they dominate a space, see how they exude expertise and confidence. See the things that they do, and if there's things that you can model off of that, great. I'm always about taking good ideas from other people, that not stealing, but like taking these things and incorporating them for yourself. There's great lessons to be gathered from people who do this well, and yeah, I just think it's really meaningful when we can see somebody else doing the things that we want to do or similar to the things that we want to do, and we can incorporate lessons. There's some great public speakers out there. Check out some of these TEDx talks and see what people are doing, because these people, if you're really interested in taking the step as a public speaker, the people who are doing TEDx talks are typically people who are just a little bit further down the pike. These are people who have a little bit more experience with public speaking maybe. So if you can gather some ideas from what they're doing, do a little bit of what they're doing, just in terms of the way they're approaching their presentation, it can really go a long way. So there's a ton of resources out there to help you along, and I definitely just want to make sure you stick with it, because the more you do it, the better you're going to get. If you want to learn more about how do you become a good public speaker, there's another video I recorded that I want you to check out. I think you'll really benefit from it. That one is called How to Become a Public Speaker. Similar titles, but different topics. That video is really focused on what you can do to build your speaker brand, some of the things that you can do to really start getting paying gigs, and even the power of a book in building your authority and helping you become the subject matter expert. So definitely check that out if you're interested in taking that step and becoming a public speaker. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.